All right, guys. We are continuing on with our Meet the Bros segment of our videos, and we're going to our old one of the group, Matt, who's been playing for quite a while, and he'll tell you a little bit about that. But tell us first off how old you are.
28.
28. Rock on. And give the folks at home a little bit of information into your geek street cred.
Well, let's see. It's hard for me to remember. I started playing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, like first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I think it was before the second edition, but I don't remember what it was called. And Warhammer about the same time. Well, no, I guess that's not true. So I started playing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons when I was about 12. I started playing Warhammer when I was about 14. I went through all of Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition and 3rd edition and 3.5, and I pretty much bailed on 4th edition. I started Warhammer way back in 4th edition when they had the cards that you dealt out, and Magic was like a little sub-card game, like I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something 20 years before it was popular. And I started with orcs, and the reason I started with orcs, I had a friend, we call him Yoshi. Yoshi started as Skaven, and we played Warhammer Curse of the Horned Rat on the PlayStation, and
Excellent game.
we decided that those evil armies were awesome. When we got the books, and we couldn't field armies and armies of black orcs and biggins, and he couldn't field storm vermin only. We were kind of let down. But regardless,
The reason we're laughing is because Dallas just got a cat climbing on his back. So sorry for the interlude, but it was pretty funny when it
yeah, she
happened.
definitely climbed up his back using his skin. So anyway, so I started Orcs and Goblins, and I still play. I've got about 10,000 points. I actually wanted to get into Dark Elves about 6th edition when the Cult of Slaanesh army came out, and I had a friend who was just getting out of Warriors of Chaos. So I bought his Warriors of Chaos stuff. It was mostly Marauders and Warriors and some Knights, because in the 6th edition Cult of Slaanesh army, you could use those and Dark Elves. So of course that's not legal anymore, so I had Warriors of Chaos, and I don't really use them that much. I've got about 5,000 points now. Some custom-made monsters, I really like them. I don't use them that much. And I bought some dwarves and some lizardmen, didn't really like them. About 1,000 points of each, probably. Dallas gave me a dirty look for selling the lizardmen. And I started Dark Elves. Finally, my wife decided, hey, you've wanted these for 10 years. You want to run this. You have this idea. Run it. So I decided to start my own counts as Cult of Slaanesh army. So that's what I did, and that's what I'm running now.
Okay, so
That was a long-winded thing.
That
but
was.
That's my history.
You went into a little bit into Warhammer. Also, why you chose Dark Elves.
Yeah.
Any other reasons why you like Dark Elves?
I really what sold me was Slaanesh was always my favorite chaos deity when I started playing, and I always loved the dark. I loved about half of the Dark Elf range. I loved the Executioner models. I loved like the feel of the Dark Elves, and really what sold me a lot was the 6th edition book was all propaganda. It was written as a like from an older Dark Elf to a younger Dark Elf, and he just was like blasting the High Elves, and everything was this horrible misunderstanding, and the High Elves were always this big conspiracy, and I just loved it, and that really sold it for me. So when I was like, oh, I can mix these two things that I think are awesome, I decided on Cult of Slaanesh.
All right, well, since you've been playing for quite a while, Warhammer, what's your favorite thing about it, and what's your least favorite?
My favorite thing about Warhammer. I'll go with the current edition since we're in 8th edition, and I don't want to. Really, my favorite thing about 8th edition is the emphasis on infantry troops, and about the game in general is I love the social aspect. I love to get together and talk, as you may notice by the super long bio. But I love to also think afterwards, get together and talk about what we could have done differently, and how everything could have been different if we had just been smarter, or if we had planned ahead more, or even if we had rolled better. Noob. Worst, I get pretty bent out of shape about bad rolling, consistent bad rolling, as Chris will remember from when he killed my dragon with a headbutt or a thump with a club or something. But probably really the worst thing I don't like about Warhammer is when you get messed up, when your battle plans get messed up by stuff that's completely beyond your control. Like, it's not that the opponent did anything, even to stop you. Like if a random piece of terrain turns out to be really, really bad, or with orcs, animosity sometimes will really mess you up. And that's when I get the maddest, is when there's just absolutely nothing to do. It's not even luck at that point. It's just
that randomness that gets in there.
yeah. So
Okay. Well, thank you, Matt. That
Yep.
was excellent. And we'll be moving on to Chris next.